What is up, fight fans? Welcome back to the MMA PRECAP, where we make predictions, make fight bets, and hopefully win some money. Also, as a fight fan, I just love breaking down the UFC fight cards. This week we have Brendan Allen versus Chris Curtis 2 as the main event, along with the main card that we'll be breaking down. So, thank you for joining me once again, as I do whenever I can. I missed 2 weeks, but otherwise, we're getting into it, man. We've had some good picks. Last week was not that good. I'm not going to lie. There were a lot of upsets that happened and a lot of interesting things that on paper didn't work out. Like on paper, it was legit, but then, things in the end, I'd say for, like the co-main and, just a lot of other upsets happened. But yeah, man, no, really interesting. Really glad to be doing this. This is actually a really good card when you break it down top to bottom, and actually some mentionables to bring in on the prelim card. So, without further ado, let's just get right into it, dude. So, what we got here is we got all this baby going down, going down, going down. We're gonna start at the very beginning. Going to start at Trevor Peek versus Charles Campbell. Charles Campbell, man, this is an interesting fight because what you have here is you have just a technical striker versus just a game fight fan brawler. This guy, Trevor Peek, is just people keep just they say he's not a great fighter. He's just a guy with amazing chin. He goes forward. He just throws strikes, and it's been hard to combat. He's 9-1. He's been successful with it, and it's a style that not many people can break. He's been good so far. I'm not sure if he'll ever get to the top echelon, but I mean it's really impressive of where he's come from. So so we'll start with Trevor Peek, man. So he's he is plus 150. He is an underdog, but he is so well with mixing up his strikes. He throws, unique kicks. He does like a crane kick, side kicks, things like that. He mixes it up a lot. But the biggest thing about him is that he is going forward all the time. He's going forward. He is a pressure fighter. He does not let you breathe. You have to come back at him, or else he is going to give you twice as bad as what you're going to give him. Because every shot he throws is with intent. The thing with him, like I was saying, is he doesn't have very good head movement. He likes to eat shots. It's gonna eat at him one day, but I don't think it's gonna happen in this fight. He puts himself in danger. Really fun to watch. Doesn't have very good defense, but he has a great offense and a great chin. So Trevor has that going for him. And this is the lightweight division. I didn't mention that there. We can look at so Trevor Peek, looking at his stats. See, he is 5'9", 70-inch reach, 29 years old. And then we can go to Charlie Campbell. Let's see, 72-inch reach, 28, 6 foot. Not too much of a difference. Big thing to think about for Charlie Campbell is he does have a more highly touted camp. He is with the Sarah Longo team with Chris Weidman and Matt Serra. So we have that. That's a big factor there. But we have with Charlie Campbell is you have that he is a very technical fighter. He's kind of more of a sniper, somebody who stays out, picks his shots. He's very technical, which is great for many fighters, for many different styles. But for this one, it's kind of easy to bet against Trevor Peek, but when you think about the fighter that he is facing in Charlie Campbell, it actually goes. It's one of the few styles that goes bad with Charlie Campbell. I think this is a bad mismatch to have. You could have so many other traditional fighters face Charlie Campbell, and it would work out better for him. But in this case, you have Trevor Peek, the guy who goes forward, not afraid to stand with you. And that's what Charlie needs. He needs somebody who is going to stay on the outside, going to be somebody who is hesitant, and we have the complete opposite in Trevor Peek. He's a plus 150, and I think it's a great bet to take. for someone like him, because you got to think about, you know, the later rounds as you know, things keep going on. You know, you watch Trevor Peek with who did he face? He faced Chipe Mariscal, who, I mean, we'll get to him, but I mean, he is a dangerous striker, so dangerous, and he went 3 rounds with Trevor Peek, and Trevor Peek did not let up on him. It was insane. You gotta watch that fight if you really want to see what type of fighter he is and what he's gonna do to Charlie Campbell. He's gonna put him in deep waters, and it's gonna be trouble for Charlie the whole fight. You know, just looking at it, both styles and how they're going to work out together, you got to think he's got to, you know, use some of that, you know, Matt Serra jiu-jitsu and do things that he hasn't really showcased in his previous fights. He's going to need to, you know, make this kind of a boring fight for Trevor. He says take him down and use that kind of game, the ground game, for Charlie Campbell. But in this case, for what we've seen, I'm going to go Trevor Peek on this. I think Trevor Peek has got, I mean, and he's fun to watch. He's fun to watch, and I think the matchmakers are kind of giving Trevor Peek an advantage here, having somebody who is on the more safer side of things and more technical. You know, but he could, his chin could get cracked. It's not a guarantee, like in anything, but it's going to be a great fight regardless. I think this is fight of the night contender on this one. So yeah, I'm going to go Trevor Peek. Method, not sure. Decision would be pretty understandable. I think it leans probably towards more towards decision. And there's possibility of finish. If you even want to bet on Charlie Campbell, I think you got to go decision as well. I think there's a chance that Charlie Campbell does stay on the outside, keeps him apart, keeps him at range, and, you know, just, you know, slips into his counter punches whenever whenever, you know, Trevor Peek is open going for a shot. He could do that. But I think Trevor Peek is definitely more the sexy bet in this one. So we'll go with that. Going into the heavyweight division, we got Lucas Brzezinski versus Walter Walker. Let's see, we can do a little breakdown here. So, Lucas Brzezinski, Lucas Brzezinski, 8-4. He is 6'4", 78-inch reach advantage, 31 years old, fighting out of Poland. So, you know, just looking up his fights, he's pretty traditional as far as a heavyweight goes. You know, he's got a submission. He's mostly a stand-up fighter. You know, there's not too much, honestly, to say about him. Watching him fight, you know, I could just say, oh, he punches, he kicks, all that sort of such. Does throw a good amount of knees for a heavyweight. So that's something, like in the clinch. I'd say he has the clinch advantage. But there's, you know, not really much to say. It's without showing footage. I think it's kind of gets boring after a while. I don't want to be boring. So, yeah. I mean, you kind of have that there. He is on a 3-fight losing skid. Martin Baudet was a robbery in that way. So I think that's where he's on a 3-fight losing streak and still getting a chance to redeem himself. So let's go to Walter Walker, the clean monster. Don't know what's clean about him. And so, yeah. So then we have 26 years old. He is 6'6", 81-inch reach, and fighting out of Russia, born in Brazil. That's a scary match. That's scary stats to have there. 6'6". I think that is just insane to have there. And so we can look at mostly winning by TKO. Got KOs, all that. Okay, so TKOs, 3 in the first, 2 in the second, 1 in the fourth. He has 1 in the fourth. Interesting. Yeah, so let's see. Yep, it'll be his UFC debut. So that is one thing that hangs on to this matchup, is you have somebody making their debut, whereas you have Lucas, who is He's been losing in the UFC, but at least he has the experience in those lights. Many people say that that is a big factor, and I agree with that. Let's see. And then so we have, as far as the odds makers have it, as Walter Walker as a minus 240 and Lucas Brzezinski as a plus 195. So I feel like for this, it's actually an even matchup. He's on a Lucas being on a 3-fight losing skid with the stats of being 6'6", 26 years old. So, 5-year advantage of his youth. Walter is picked as a favorite, but honestly, this is pretty even. You have just kind of some traditional heavyweights who like to brawl. It's going to be on the feet. For me, I would just guarantee a finish. It's going to be a finish. How or when you want to do, under 2.5, even 1.5. Actually, 1.5. Yeah, doing under 1.5. That'd be the smarter bet to do. Because they're both, they're both pretty stylistically even. It just is who shows up more crisp, more confident. Who is more confident to throw strikes and get engaged. Pause. But it's too much to kind of break down little minute micro stats about them. It's kind of just too small to really predict. His record, Walter's record, looks a little sexier, but it's just, hasn't really faced crazy opponents yet. He is undefeated, so that's where I think the line gets bigger for Walter. If you are trying to, make money or risk, risk reward, betting on Lucas isn't a bad idea. Even if you want to bet decision, go for it, kind of. But I think the smart money is betting a finish under 1.5 for any of them. Just saying overall as the fight result. But for this one, I think it's going to be the first time for me where I just go, I'd be lying if I said this guy outright. It's not. It just doesn't. Not like they don't impress me. It's just as far as the matchup goes, I'm not impressed by a healthy enough margin where somebody is the outright winner. It's all because of stats that the Walter Walker is minus 240 and Lucas Brzezinski is plus 195. So I think that's what that is there. Ooh, this one's a good one. I got to hit my vape for this. Fucking ads. So, we have Ignacio Bahamontes versus Christos Hygos. Yes, it is Hygos. This is in the lightweight division. Ignacio is 26, 6'3", okay, and 75-inch reach advantage, fighting out of VFS Academy. Let's see, it is, I was pretty sure about that. So fighting in the same camp as Yaya Rodriguez, so he's he's got some good strikers in his camp. It's very important. And then we have Christos at 34 years old, 5'10", 71-inch reach advantage. So we have a little bit of a different, stat-wise, a little bit of an advantage there as far as, if we're just looking straight up at stats. Ignacio, he is a really good pressure fighter. I think he has the advantage on the feet. He does not spend his time on the back of the cage. That is something interesting I saw in a lot of his fights. He is an aggressor, and he's usually pressing them on the cage. Really great in that division. He has a good chin. Does he use much of his kickboxing as he does? Although he did finish Roosevelt Roberts with a wheel kick, which is very impressive. But he seems to be more of a boxer in that sort of way. Kind of uses the kickboxing when needed as like a, break the glass in case of emergency type of thing. But He he utilizes it when he needs to. But he's mainly a boxer, really crisp. I mean, he's really crisp with his striking, really good at breaking guards and getting through his punches there. For him, he is a minus 310 favorite. And, just with his aggression, I understand where that comes from. So we have to look at Christos again. So, we have, 5'10 versus 6'3", 26 years old versus 34 years old, 75-inch reach advantage versus 71-inch reach advantage. Christos has more of a well-rounded background where he does mix in some wrestling, gets some submissions, has TKOs, all the works. Look at it here. So he's more healthy on his 8 TKOs, 4 submissions, 8 decisions. So he does have a lot of variance with it, where you know what you're getting with Inacio. But with Inacio, he actually has really good takedown defense. He has really good takedown defense, and he's kind of like a Chuck Liddell, back in the day, Chuck Liddell, where he had a great wrestling pedigree, but he used it to stay standing. So that's the very impressive part with all of this. That's, just without even, taking too much breath, it's, I think Bahamanis is going to take this. He's just so poised on the feet. He picks his strikes. He has the height advantage, has the reach advantage, has the youth on his side. Hygos doesn't have much luck with very skilled strikers. He is good with people who are just kind of traditional brawlers. If you have Trevor Peak in this, I mean, that'd be maybe a different story where he could take him down, and that'd be a better style matchup for this one. That should happen next. If they both lose, that should be the next matchup, because that'll favor Christos much more in this one. But I think Hygos would have to make this a ground match in order for it to be a fight, but I don't see it working out like that, and I think the aggression of Inacio is just too much for Christos in this one. So I think I got Bahamanis by TKO in the second round. I think that's a pretty fair bet to do. So hopefully you guys do that. Otherwise, 310 is a little tough of a line to pick yourself, but that'll at least minimize the cut you're getting from all that. So, and let's go to the featherweight division. Morgan Charrier versus Chipe Mariscal. Chipe Mariscal, Morgan Charrera. Yeah. So we have Morgan. Let's look at his stats. We got 28 years old, 5'8", 69-inch reach, advantage, fighting out of France. Can look at his record. He has a fight. He won by body kicks in his UFC debut. Been doing good for himself in that way. Few losses there. Noticing from how he fights, he is, I'd say, like the Charlie Campbell of this fight, where he is definitely the more precision fighter, more technical on the outside, but when he comes in, he's able to sort of find the openings, make them work. But then we have Chipe here, who is the Trevor Peak in this example, where he is much more aggressive, makes you pay for the strikes when you get into the pocket with him. He's super impressive. Chipe Mariscal, the machine gun, that's very worthy. Same reach, 31 years old, 5'7", a fight out of an Elevation Fight Team. which is pretty well known. I remember, yep, yeah, we got Neil Magny, Curtis Blades, Corey Sandhagen. He has a great camp behind him, so his wrestling's going to be on par. He's going to have, all the right tools to win this match. I think, Morgan has a great, extensive fight catalog in the Cage Warriors organization. Really fun to watch, really good. But what you have in Chipe here is just superior striking, and something to mention too. He has a really great judo background. He has a judo background that he showcases constantly throughout his fights. When he is in the clinch and he is off the fence, he can judo throw people at will. He's showcased it many times. It was a great fight again against Trevor Peak, where he was showcasing that numerous times throughout the fight. Gave him hell, was striking with him the whole time. He was striking with Trevor Peak the whole time. The fan fighter who is insanely aggressive. Chipe is just kind of the better version of Trevor Peak, and he's just more technical. I don't know how I have this going though. I think Charrier needs to finish this. Charrier needs to finish the fight. I don't know how he would. I think he's kind of got to starch him with either like a body punch or just a lucky wild shot. But in this case, I mean, looking on paper, it's Chipe's fight to win. Surprisingly, this match is even, minus 115, but I think the heavy advantage goes to the Chipe in this one. I think there's a lot more out there of Morgan that makes him look like the more decorated, polished fighter, which he is. He's a more polished fighter, but what we really got to take into account is the fight camp that Chipe has behind him, and the well-versedness that he has as far as the wrestling goes. Morgan's fought in the UK, in Europe a lot, and they don't really have a traditionally solid wrestling game. So, for a lot of the takedowns he gets when you watch his fights, there isn't much give to it. Like there's just not much training involved with it. Every double leg or single leg he gets is pretty easily won, and he's gonna kind of find out that it is not going to be that easy, and that is how he's won many of his fights. So I think this is kind of a lock. Honestly, I would actually put this a lock for Chipe. It's I see Chipe. You can just bet the line if you want, since it's an even matchup as far as the line goes. And yeah, so I think that's going to be a good one. Going to be another good fight, man. Like I said, another good fight. Okay, so let's get on to the co-main event in the featherweight division. Once again, we have Alex Hernandez versus Damon Jackson. This one's an interesting one, I'd say. Alex Hernandez has kind of been a journeyman in this sport, in the UFC. He's had a lot of back and forth losses, losing to Renato Moicano, Billy Quarantino, Bill Algeo recently in a decision, winning against Jim Miller. Jim Miller's on the out, but still a good fighter. They both have the same sort of style. I mean, if you take out the grappling ability of Alex Hernandez, Damon Jackson's kind of the same person, where they both sit on the outside, wait for their shots. Having wrestling background, that's obviously one thing, but and obviously huge in the submission category, so he does look to get the takedowns in more than anything, and both share a loss to Billy Quarantino. But it's honestly a style cancel out in this way. It's sort of a style cancel out where they both, it might just be more of a grappling exchange. That'd be more interesting. But I feel like this fight's just going to be kind of a style clash and a bit of a chess match on the feet. So both have good submission games. Damon Jackson's going to have the advantage in that way. but I believe this is going to kind of take place on the feet, as they do, and use the submissions when needed. I would think, this is going to go decision. I think decision would be for Alex Hernandez, since he is better on the feet. But if you think by finish, I think Damon Jackson would take it. But if I was an overall pick, I think Alex Hernandez by decision. I think this is his line to get back and kind of stay in the rankings, or get close back into the rankings. Yeah, I'm pretty sure on that. Yeah. Well, one thing at Damon Jackson is he's really hesitant. He's really hesitant on the feet. He kind of just, tries to wait for a shot that doesn't exist. No offense to him. It's just what I've seen in his fights. He just really kind of picks his shots. And it's like he's not even waiting for a finisher punch. He's looking for a takedown. So, see a lot of his fights kind of go stagnant. And that's where in the UFC he has had... So ground and pound, you got Pat Sabatini. He did land a really clean shot as he was looking to kind of feel him out. Decisions. Lost to Ilia Topuria. And So I have it going that way. I think Alex Hernandez is better on the feet. Has a little more of a well mixed game. Can defend the submissions from Damon Jackson. It's going to take him rocking Alex Hernandez, and I don't really see that happening. So we shall see on that, but I think that's kind of a fair pick there. Okay, lastly, in the middleweight division, we have Brandon Allen versus Chris Curtis, number 2. They are rematching. Chris Curtis won the first fight, and to make things sweet, I think it's going to be the same thing. As far as Brendan Allen goes, he's a great grappler. He's great at grappling. Most of his wins are by finish. One of the things he does do, though, is most of his finishes are from top control. He's not exactly a back. He doesn't work off his back much. Usually his submissions happen, or pretty much all of them happen, from when he is doing work on the feet and takes it to the ground, not the other way around. And in this case, with Chris Curtis, I don't see him winning the stand-up exchanges. Chris Curtis is a high-level boxer. He's very good friends and training partners with Sean Strickland. So battling out with that guy weeks on end is quite the pedigree to have. Chris Curtis stood toe-to-toe with Joaquin Buckley, and you really should watch that fight if you haven't, because it's a great testament to how he can hang on the feet, and how someone like Brendan Allen is going to have trouble again with Chris Curtis. Brendan Allen, he's fun. He's fun to watch. He's a fun person to watch, and definitely, he's found 4 submissions in a row. We can look at some of the stats too. 28, 6'2", 75-inch reach, Kill Cliff FC. So he does a good gym behind him. Jalen Marchart. Burmese Python out of 1FC. Robbie Lawler, Derek Brunson, rest in peace, Anthony Johnson. Michael Chandler. So you have some good fighters out of there. And then Chris Curtis. So is he 6'2", and he's 5'10", 75-inch reach. I was training out Extreme Couture, so going to be no strangers there to a good training camp. But yeah, just kind of as this went before, I think the unrelenting pressure of Chris Curtis is going to be what decides this. I think Brendan Allen might learn his lesson and figure out a kind of a better strategy to maybe take him down before the aggression actually starts. But in this case, I just don't really see that happening. I think Brendan Allen won't be able to really hang as well on the feet. Again, not really as skilled off of his back. So I think that's pretty locked in. How does he finish? Good question. Does it finish? It's 5 rounds. Does he get finished again? I don't think Chris Curtis wins by decision. I think Chris Curtis finishes it within 3. If Brendan Allen wins, I think that'd be by decision. Late choke, maybe. Hard to say. We can look at the records. So, yeah, we got 4 rear naked chokes in a row, all from the same way I was talking about, from top position after beating him on the feet. Yep, so has had a good streak. Yep, his last loss was from Chris Curtis back in 2021. Yeah. And then Chris Curtis had some back and forth. Had Kelvin Gastelum's one of his best fights he's had in a while. Saw a great version of him there. And as we see, as I was saying before, finishing Joaquin Buckley, very impressive. Had a split decision win to Marc Andre. So, yeah, as far as it goes, I think I'm pretty locked on that. I think I got Chris Curtis by finish within the 3rd. If it does go past 3rd, if you want to parlay it, I think doing decision, Brendan Allen isn't too bad of an idea either. Sometimes the momentum of the fights beforehand can make it so, just weird how it works out. Where sometimes it's just a decision night. Sometimes be decision night. These fight nights have been entertaining as hell, and the pay-per-views will be the ones that are decision style mismatches or style clashes. But in this case, it's a different amount of styles, so I don't really think it's going to go to decision. But yeah, my W is for Chris Curtis. One more mentionable, excuse me, that I want to mention is the return of Germaine de Randamie. Germaine de Randamie was on a tear. She's had some bad injuries. She's 39 years old, but she is one of the best strikers in the UFC division, in the UFC women's division, taking out Juliana Pena, who beat Amanda Nunes. She had some great stand-up battles with a lot of people, including with Amanda Nunes. She is coming back off of a 4-year delay, almost 4 years, getting close to it. We'll see what happens there. I think it'll be interesting with her age. It kind of does play a factor. 33 years old versus 39 years old. 3-5 win streak, been active, things like that. Well, I'm just more excited for it. I don't have a bet for it. I'm just excited. Let's see what we have here for her. Yeah, it's pretty even. People know that Germaine de Randamie is still a threat. She left the division beating Juliana Pena. I don't think she's lost too much. But we'll see. That'll be interesting. So, that's what we got. That's what we got for the fights. Thank you so much for watching, man. I love this sport. Next week, we got UFC 300. That is going to be an amazing card. I will be for sure giving some breakdowns for that. So be sure to stick around, subscribe, like, all that hacky nonsense. Give us your picks in the comments too, man. I love to see people who give their picks, and we can, see who's wrong. You never know in this fight game. So that's what it is for this time. The MMA PRECAP. My name is Peter Artman. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.